welcome to a very special vlog. In this one, we are talking all things Keys to the Kingdom tour. This is such a special tour. If you've never done it, or if you're interested in it and that's why you've come on to this vlog, then stay tuned. I tell you everything there is to know about this tour. We did it in November of 2024. So I can only tell you information about that specific time. I can't tell you what happened in the past or what's going to be happening in the future, obviously. Obviously, for obvious reasons, I couldn't film the tour as it happened. However, I do a detailed review and kind of a detailed what we did on the tour and what we talked about. So if you're not sure and you'd like, oh, what do we do in the 5 hours? Then I explain everything in detail. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So let me tell you about the tour. Wow. Keys to the Kingdom tour. Absolutely amazing. Would highly, highly recommend. I think this was possibly the best day I've ever had in Magic Kingdom. This tour was really special. It is for someone like me who loves the history of Disney and all the history of the parks and learning about all that kind of thing. It's really, really interesting, and I loved it. Zoe really enjoyed it as well. It was just great. I thought I would know a lot during this tour, and I did know a lot of it, to be fair, but there was so much that I didn't know that I learnt about, which was really interesting. Going backstage for the first time was amazing. Like, we went backstage for parts of the UK's Biggest Disney Fan, but it wasn't the same as this. This was it was more practical reasons we did that for UK's Biggest Disney Fan. Such as like when we got to parks early, and we needed to get whatever. So this was really special. Some of the backstage bits that we did was just amazing. I don't know how much it is. I want to say it's about $160, something like that each, which sounds expensive, but actually, when you're thinking I'm spending that much, if not more, on a Halloween party or more on a Christmas party, it's actually not that bad for what you get. You get a 5-hour tour, you get lunch provided, you get a commemorative pin, which is, it's nice. It's not a deal breaker, but for someone who collects pins, it's quite a nice thing. And you can and you get access to places that you literally can't go without being a cast member normally. So yeah, right, what I'm going to do is I've got a map of Magic Kingdom. So I'm going to basically show you the route that we took as we went around. So we started our tour at 9 o'clock. We started at the town hall, so that's where we had to check in. Where Tony's Town Square check-in is, that's where you check in. I think there's 3 tours a day. I think it's like 8:30, 9 and 9:30. There might be another one, but there's definitely those 3. I know that for a fact. So when we checked in, we got given our badges for the day, and we also got given like an audio pack so we could hear everything the tour guide was going to say, because she has a clip-on mic and she can talk at a normal volume, and we can hear her with the headphone, rather than having to shout everything above everyone in Magic Kingdom, which wouldn't be ideal. It was at that point where we had to make our dining choices for Columbia Harbour House. So that's where we ate for lunch. And what's nice with this tour is lunch is included, and they give you half an hour for lunch. So in a way, it's a 4.5-hour tour, because half an hour is lunch. But it didn't feel like you were cheated out of half an hour of your tour, if that makes sense. Like, it was a good length tour, to be honest. And the lunch break was obviously appreciated as you're going around. So we started our tour on Main Street. we had a wander around and we looked at sort of some of the windows, talked about some of them. We went down the side streets a little bit, and then we headed over to Adventureland. This, like Main Street, we probably were only there for about half an hour. And then we went into Adventureland. We then went into the Tiki Room, and as your tour guide is sort of talking to you, she's telling the story basically of how Walt Disney World became what it is, really. And so she got to talking about animatronics, and obviously the Tiki Bird's one of the first animatronics. So that was an appropriate attraction to go on. So we went onto Tiki Birds and watched that. Or the Enchanted Tiki Room, should I say, and watch that. And obviously, as well as telling the story of Disney World, Walt Disney World, she's also telling the story of like why Magic Kingdom is how it is, if that makes sense, and why everything looks the way it does. Talking about the facades of Main Street, and she said about like how it transitions as we went into Adventureland. It was really cool, to be honest. There were some things that I'd spotted before, and then some things which I'd not even thought about, such as at Crystal Palace. There's if you look at Crystal Palace, half of it is sort of that Victorian design of Main Street, and then the other half is more of an Adventureland feel, which is so obvious when you look at it and see it, but it's something I'd never even thought of. But yeah, so this was the point. So after Tiki Birds, the Enchanted Tiki Room, this was the point where we went backstage. So we went backstage from Pirates. There's a backstage area there. And what we did was we walked underneath the railroad, and then walked around backstage. We got to see sort of the attraction building for Pirates, and you could see from backstage the drop kind of thing, or where the drop would be. Obviously, you can't see the drop, but you can see where the drop would be if the hill wasn't there or whatever. So yeah, and then we walked up here, and it was around here I was like, this was probably my favourite part of the tour. So we're still backstage in this area, and this was seeing all of the parade floats. Now this was really, really cool to me, because I'm all about the entertainment in Disney, and the parades are one of my favourite things, and this was really special because not only were the Christmas parades out there, but also quite a lot of the Halloween parades were still out there, because she was saying that like they're slowly putting them in storage now, but it meant that I don't know if the majority were out, but a good portion of the Halloween parades floats were out. So like, the Tinkerbell one where she's on the pirate treasure chest was there. I can't even think. The Haunted Mansion ones were there. It's like a barn one, which has that big hen in it, which is, I can't think of the hen's name. It's like it's Mirabelle, but it's not. It's like Cluckerbell. No, I don't know. I'm just making it up. It might not even be anything like that. Anyway, so they had that float and a bunch of the other Halloween ones, as well as all the Christmas ones that we saw the other night. They also had the Adventure Cavalcade, which is still happening, and obviously they had all the Festival of Fantasy Parade floats. And what was really cool was we went and basically stood right next to the Maleficent float. And she talked a lot about the floats and sort of how people train to get into to do that, and the difficulty of that, and obviously some people you can see a lot better out of some of them than others, and there's different tiered ones. So basically, I think there's 3 tiers. Is that right? Yeah. And the third tier is kind of the present float for the Christmas parade, if you've seen that one, or the I think it's like a graveyard float in the Halloween parade, where there's no characters on the float. It's quite good visibility, and so it's a tier 3 or a level 3 parade float. Whereas you look at a float like Mickey and Minnie at the start of the Christmas parade, that'd be a tier 1 or a level 1 because it's got characters on it and it's low visibility. Maleficent was also a level 1 because even though there's no characters on that, it's low visibility because, you are quite high up, but you can't see past Maleficent's chin. But also because there's an effect on that one, because she, blows fire. That's classed as a level 1. But yeah, it was really interesting to me listening to that. And then as we were leaving that area, it was really cool because we saw Merida run across the streets, because they were all getting ready to go on the Adventureland cavalcade, which was so cool to see. We got to see, Bruno and Mulan, Eleanor, Raya, and loads of the characters, all getting ready, to go out on the cavalcade. And they were just, it was very strange to see, sort of characters that you've seen, on that. I mean, I've seen that cavalcade several times now. It's very bizarre seeing them kind of not in character, but interact with each other. And yeah, they got ready. So they put the face characters on first, and then they put the ones with the heads on after. And it's a whole process. And honestly, there's loads of people there putting them on and making sure everyone's safe. It's really cool, and it was really really ace to see. It was really really cool to me seeing that. So after we'd done that, which was, I guess it technically would have been around here is where the parades are. And then we walked back and came through where the parade starts. So about 10 minutes after they went out, that's when we were able to walk out. So we then came out here, walked through Frontierland, and then went straight to, at that point, it was about 11:30, I think. At that point, that's where we went to Columbia Harbour House and had our lunch. And it was good. We got a choice of pretty much the whole menu and a drink. And that was included in the price. I had the lobster roll, and Zoe had the fish and chips, I guess, for lack of a.
Fish fingers, probably.
Yeah, the more like
goujons.
cod goujons. There you go. And then yeah, it was good. And then at that point they gave us these. So these are like Oreo IDs. They say on the bottom. So these are like special Keys to the Kingdom branded Oreos, but they're like I don't know, they're like dipped in white chocolate, aren't they? And then they've got all these sprinkles and stuff around them, which is really nice. We both got one each of these, and then we shared one, and then we've kept one for now. We will eat them at some point because the date on them is December 26th, so we won't keep them forever. But yeah, we didn't feel the need to open both at that point. And then after lunch, we came back down and she spoke to us about the Liberty Tree. It was one of the only things that Walt specifically said as they were starting the Florida project and looking at the different things. He spotted the Liberty Tree or the oak tree and said, "I want that in Magic Kingdom." Basically,
I didn't know any of that.
Yeah, no.
Also, I didn't know what a Liberty Tree was.
No, I didn't
That's
really
probably
know.
my Britishism, but
Yeah, I knew there was a thing, but I didn't really know what it was, kind of thing. So yeah, no, that was really, really interesting. And then once we'd done that, she started to talk a lot about Haunted Mansion. And Haunted Mansion is probably that and Jungle Cruise, I would probably say, are my two favourite in Magic Kingdom. So it was really cool to hear a lot that she was talking about Haunted Mansion. She did share a lot of stuff that was, if you've ever watched Behind the Attraction, She shared a lot of the information that I've learned through the Haunted Mansion episode of that. And in all fairness, it's probably fresh in my mind because I watched it on the plane on the way over, that particular episode. But it was really interesting to sort of hear it from her.
Also, and then it seemed like there used to be a tour that went behind, like into the attraction.
Oh yeah, there was
Backstage, but I can't remember what it was called.
It was it's called it begins with an M, and it's to do with where Walt grew, or not Walt grew up, but like where Marceline tour, I think they called.
Yeah.
I think it was the Marceline tour. I think that because there was one lady who was on our tour, and you could tell she was a huge Disneyland fan, and so she was talking about that, and like she was like, "Oh, I'd love to do that one day," and so yeah. And she said, the tour guide said on that tour, they show you the ballroom in detail and stuff like that. And I was like, what? So if they ever bring that back, maybe we'll try that tour. But anyway, so we then went on Haunted Mansion, which was cool. She had a lot of things to be like, check out, make sure to look out for this bit and this bit, which was cool. So after Haunted Mansion, we then went into Fantasyland, and then we walked to just by, but I think it was between Friar's Nook and what's the other place called? So let me have a look at it whilst I've got the map open. It's Friar's Nook, and I'm sure there's another food place. Storybook Treats and Friar's Nook. There's a little staff entrance, or a cast member entrance, should I say? Feels wrong saying staff. So that is where we went in, and at that point was where we went into the Utilidors, which was amazing. It was everything you imagine you'd see in the Utilidors. So we got in there, and straight away, someone with Belle's hair and Belle's makeup stepped out in front of us, and then she then. I think she realised that a tour was happening, so she went straight back in, which was quite funny. And then after that, I started to notice a trend of most of the performers, or most of the entertainment cast members, had grey t-shirts on. And that's something that we noticed. We watched a thing on Disney Plus a couple of weeks ago, which is like the Christmas. I think it's Decorating the Kingdom, or Decorating for Disney, or something like that. It's on Disney Plus, and in that they show you a bit of like preparing for the parades, and all the cast members doing the dancing in the parade. They're all wearing grey tops, and so I connected that to everyone in the Utilidors wearing grey tops were all entertainment cast members, and at that point it was a lot easier to spot the people who were friends with people, let's say. So yeah, we went into the Utilidors. We then went downstairs, so we were properly in the tunnels. At that point, who else did we see? Oh, I saw there was the people who we saw were someone with the hair and makeup of Eleanor. There was Rapunzel, and that one was quite easy to spot with the hair. And there was, we saw Belle right at the beginning, and then Anna came out.
Oh, Anna, yeah.
And it's so bizarre because they're just like chatting with their friend or whatever as they're wandering around. Obviously, they're not in character because they're not they're backstage. But it's so bizarre. So it's going to be hard because obviously this isn't accurate, and I don't know exactly where we were. But we came down at this point. I think it was about here. We came down downstairs. Downstairs into the tunnel. We went down some stairs, and then I believe, I might be wrong, but I believe we went up a bit, and then we kind of came this way, I think, and then we went down. It's not really worth me sort of making a made up line on this, but then we went underneath the castle, Cinderella Castle, and that was really, really cool to do that. It was kind of very bizarre knowing that you're walking under the castle, but when we were under there, they've got lots of pictures on the walls, sort of about like building of the Magic Kingdom. They've got a big section on the Cinderella suite, and at that point, she'd sort of finished her big like talk, and she was like, "If anyone wants to go and have a closer look at the pictures, go ahead, and we'll carry on in about a couple of minutes." So at that point, I had a chat with the tour guide and was like, "Yeah, so last year I came second to nearly getting into the Cinderella Castle suite," and she was like, "Oh wow, I mean that you're so close."
They were like, "You should have a go next year."
Yeah. I was like, "Yeah, that's kind of not a thing next year," but never mind. Sorry, joint second, obviously, Cam, if you're watching. Joint second biggest Disney fans. But yeah, that was really, really funny because she was saying like part of her job and the cast and guest relations team is to look after people who go into that suite. So she was saying like she's been in the suite several times, which is more than a lot of cast members because some cast members will never see inside.
Apparently they've got a raffle every few months.
Yeah, they do a sweepstakes, she was saying, every few months to try and to win a night in there. So she was saying she'd not been in to stay, but she's been in several times, and she's kind of helped people who have stayed in there. No, like she's been she said she said there was like an office next door or something like that, and they stay in there for the night or whatever. But yeah, so after that, there was then a lot of pictures of Walt and his kind of his story with Disneyland, and then the Florida Project and Roy's story. And she was really great at being a storyteller, and she kind of shared the story really. She'd shared bits through as we'd done the tour, but then she'd sort of shared the bit about obviously Roy taking over from Walt when Walt passed, and then Roy sadly passing away a couple of months after the Magic Kingdom opened, which was really obviously really sad, and she told the story amazingly well, and it was you've got a bit of a lump in your throat as she was sort of telling that story. And also another thing, one of the things she said about the statue was the partner statue was quite special, because she was like, there's no one meaning to the statue, but what she likes to see as, and what a lot of people have said, is that the partner statue obviously is Walt's quite late on in his life, and he's holding Mickey's hand and he's pointing ahead. Now, if you know Magic Kingdom well, you know that down Main Street is where Roy's statue lives, and basically she's I'm going to mess this story up, but she basically told the story as if Walt's saying, "I can't carry on this story, but there's a guy just at the end of Main Street, just down there, who will finish the story of the Florida Project," which was that I'll be honest, that was the point where I was like, I was glad I was wearing sunglasses, and yeah, but yeah, back to the being in the Utilidors. So once we'd gone under the castle, the pictures are here somewhere, I presume, and then we came up just. If you've ever done one of the Christmas parties or the Halloween parties, you there's like a passageway down here. So we came up backstage here, and she pointed out kind of where Tinkerbell lands basically after the fireworks. which is like a very tall built like structure that she compared to a lifeguard chair around here. And then, yeah, we came out of Main Street, and that was the point where the tour ended. And that was the point where she handed us our keys. Oh, this is not going to focus now, is it? Our Keys to the Kingdom pins, which we've got one each. And yeah, I love these. These are like, sadly, they are that kind of pin. They're not the ones that I'm gonna try and stick it on a board or something like that. But yeah, these are really special, and it's really nice that was an additional thing. And yeah, the tour was amazing. Our tour guide was Emma Caroline, and she was superb. She's only been in the company for 3 years, she said, and she nailed it. Like I absolutely loved the tour. I thought she was so good. And yeah. Anyone who's thinking about doing it, go and do it. It is well worth it. You'll have a great time. You'll learn so much. Even if you think you know everything, you'll learn so much. I didn't think I knew everything, but I thought I'd know a lot of things, whereas have still learned a lot. And yeah, it's just a unique experience having a tour of Magic Kingdom anyway. And feeling all fancy as you're walking around with someone. But yeah, if you're thinking about doing it, go and do it. It's great. It's great fun. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you're new to the channel and you clicked on this video wanting to know about this tour, then fantastic. I'm so glad this has been helpful. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have, I'd really appreciate it if you could give us a like and a subscribe. Really would mean a lot. If you're coming back from seeing a previous vlog, obviously you've seen that this one's very different. Next week, all the vlogs coming up will be, pretty standard here on out. This one was just kind of a one-off because it's because I couldn't film anything on the tour, obviously. But hopefully you enjoyed it nonetheless. Anyway, that's enough of me talking. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.